The chapter is based on a practice, research and development project called Insights and Outlooks. And the project aimed at supporting pupils in Danish lower secondary schools in developing a broader view on career possibilities. And in order to support this, researchers worked with teachers and guidance practitioners to explore and reflect how their practice could support a broader view for the pupils. We worked with the method called research circles, and Bo will present the method in detail, more detail. So many details that we have time to present. On the basis of this aim, broadening the students' view on career possibilities and broadening the view of the professionals on how to support this, we found inspiration in Amartya Sen's capability approach in the way we define social justice. Sen highlight that being able to reason and the freedom to choose between different kinds of life that you have reason to value have an intrinsic value and is a significant aspect of human life and also have social justice consequences or social justice implications. We are also inspired by Ronan Sultana's description of social justice as a stance inspired by a commitment to act virtuously in relation to others.
So the key issues we are addressing both in the project that Randi mentioned, but also in our article is, sometimes it's difficult to, in a persuading way, talk about injustices in social injustices in a country like Denmark, when we see and hear about conditions in other parts of the world. Nevertheless, we see that not everything is well and swell in welfare states such as Denmark. One of the things where we really are similar to, for instance, Sweden, is that we actually, as Frida mentioned before, we have limited social mobility through education. We see reproduction of social backgrounds through education. Young people whose parents are unskilled remain unskilled. Young people who come from backgrounds in higher education, they are the ones who go into universities, very broadly speaking. So what we are discussing in this chapter and working with concretely in this practice project that Randi mentioned, is try to create equality by widening educational opportunities, and a widening of educational opportunities for all kinds of pupils. That means it's not just about putting young people with an unskilled background into higher education, but also in relation to the notion we get from Sen, to actually make it possible for young people who come from a social background with a big tradition for higher education to actually be able to choose vocational education. That's not so easy, actually, in Denmark. We see social justice as a practice that must be addressed through professional interventions in education and guidance. It's not just a theory that we can apply in some way, it's a practice we have to take part in, and it is also a practice where research has a responsibility, and it is perhaps mainly the responsibility of the researcher that we discuss in our article, in our chapter. Because the challenge is not only to teachers and guidance professionals, but also to researchers who must consider and discuss how do we, with our research, support the development of social justice practices. So trying to answer how career guidance can contribute to social justice was a bit hard for us, but we're trying to say something about how research in career guidance may contribute to social justice. We see a need for career guidance research to help develop relationship between researchers and professionals and try to create new arenas where we can meet and exchange our knowledge, our research knowledge and practice knowledge in a respectful way together. We work with that in the project that Andy mentioned with research circles and action-based research methods based on participatory thinking. And those research circles where we united practitioners and researchers, our analysis of this work shows us that they can actually both be arenas for social justice, that is, arenas where practitioners and researchers meet and get new inspiration and develop activities that promote social justice in professional practice. But they also seem to be able to be arenas of social justice, arenas that perhaps are social just in their own right, a place where you can widen the opportunities, perhaps even in an amateurism manner, widen the opportunities for both professionals and researchers by listening to each other, by understanding each other's knowledge, by being inspired by each other's knowledge, by not having a hierarchical notion of what kind of knowledge is the right one, by enhancing reflection on social justice and own practice, both for practitioners and researchers, and by creating solidarity and understanding between research on career guidance and career guidance practice. So our conclusion, and this is just finalizing our small presentation here, social justice is also carried out through the way our research is being organized. So the researcher must also ask herself, or himself, or himself, is it an inclusive line of inquiry I'm actually working on? Is it reciprocal? Is it giving back to practice? Is it taking a stance? You can say that our theory and practice, our work in these research circles and our results kind of are inspired by the famous quote attributed to anthropologist Margaret Mead: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." And so if you want to go further on in your discussions and knowledge about social justice perspectives and critical perspectives and agency in career guidance, I just want to make a small advertisement for a conference in Copenhagen, not far from here, next year in October, led by Rie Thomsen, that will present critical perspectives on agency and social justice in transitions and career development. And call for papers are coming up later this month. Yeah. Thank you.